Listen, as a sales rep, we've all been there. It's the end of the month, your numbers aren't adding up, and it doesn't look like you're gonna hit your forecast. Nothing is worse than going into that one-on-one with your manager and having those numbers not line up. It's like a domino effect really on your performance. Today, I'm gonna show you not only how to set up forecasting in HubSpot, but also measure your results and set achievable goals. These tools are actually gonna help you predict better revenue, set more measurable goals, and ultimately learn from your open and closed deals. If you wanna follow along, it's easy. Just click the link in the description below. Let's get started. Let's navigate to the forecast tool in HubSpot. So from your HubSpot dashboard, just click on Sales here in the main nav and then select Forecast. Now in HubSpot, by default, forecasts are set to close date and deal amount. But don't worry, if that doesn't match your business, maybe you forecast on commission, maybe you forecast on units, you can actually go in here and customize this for up to 5 different forecasts. It's really easy. I'll show you how. So if you click forecast type right here on create forecast type, here's where you can actually name your forecast and select different dates and amount properties. Maybe you want to forecast on actually recognized revenue, or maybe, like I said, you kind of want to look at a commission forecast if you have a larger sales team. You're able to go in here and actually create up to 5 of those, and we can do, as a good example, one for commission. So we will just type in the name. Let's set a date right here, an amount property, and hit finish. It's that easy. You've just created a custom forecast for your reps to submit. Now, if you actually want to submit that forecast, you can come in here and hit submit. You can see you can submit a forecast for a certain amount of time over a set period and really indicate kind of how you've been performing against that forecast. Now, a quick pro tip I like to have is you see this little button right here about history. If you hit that, you'll actually see how accurate your forecasts have been over time. It's actually a good thing to reference before you go and submit this next month's forecast, so you can kind of see like, hey, am I constantly predicting over, or maybe I'm underselling myself? It's a good way to kind of keep your forecasts in check and be closer to the actual amount. Now, one thing you want to do is if you want a more granular view, you can actually click into a rep here. We'll pick this example. And you can hit view deals. And if you want to submit this, you can actually go through and check off the individual deals you would like to include in the forecast. That way, if your manager says, hey, why did this forecast come up short this month? You're able to kind of say, listen, these were the deals that were included. Here's exactly the reason. Here's the ones that slipped. And it's really clear how the forecast was submitted. One other extra tip is if you see this little score right here, this is going to actually show you how likely the deal is to close. So when you're actually submitting those forecasts, maybe you want to submit the deals that are more on the higher likely end of closing. That way, they'll actually close and your forecast will be more accurate. Now, let's check out goal management. Because here's the thing, you can have the best forecasting, the cleanest data, and the most advanced reporting. But if you don't have clear, attainable goals, your reps may be leaving money on the table. Let me show you how to set up goals inside of HubSpot. First thing we'll do is we will go to the main navigation and go back to forecasting here under sales, and you'll see this little create goal button right here. Go ahead and hit this. And this is actually where you can create specific user goals for the entire team. What's really nice about Sales Hub is that it's got a couple predefined templates for you. Let me show you a few. So here, if you click here, you can see different goal types. What I like to recommend is starting with revenue goals, but don't stop there. You can actually set up goals for things like deals created, calls made, and even meetings booked. The beauty of this system is that you can track leading indicators and not lagging ones. Here's something really cool. If you're working in an organization that does deal splits where one rep helps another rep close a deal and you split things up 50-50 commission-wise, you can account for that here. When you're setting up these goals, you can actually customize them by role. Maybe your account executives are gold on revenue, whereas your SDRs, your BDRs are gold on meetings booked. It's really easy to set up and customize that inside of Sales Hub so your teams know exactly the metric they should be hitting. Another tip, as you're setting up things here, you can actually make sure to include contributions from all team members. So just go ahead and click include contributions from extra team members, and anyone who has worked in any supporting roles will be able to count that towards the goals. So let's go ahead and finish this goal. We can hit in all of the information and hit next. Let's pick some achievable goals, and we'll also see that we have the option to set goals for a couple months. Let's fill in some of those right here, kind of setting where I want my reps to perform, and hit next. All right, one of the things that can be really hard is keeping track of how reps are performing against those goals. Here's where you can actually set up notifications to see how your reps are doing, if they're hitting the goal, if they're missing the goal. That way you're always on top of things. I'll select the notifications I would like and hit create goal. That's it. Let's say you're a global sales team with customers all around the world. With Sales Hub, you're able to go in and set up multiple currencies. That way, your forecasts actually reflect the revenue you're expecting to collect. Here's a real time saver. Once you've created a goal, you can generate a report for that goal easily. Just hover over a goal here in our dashboard, and you'll automatically create a report that matches your goal parameters. No more trying to figure out which filters to use to see how performance is doing. The real power comes when you combine these goals with forecasting. That way you're able to see not just if someone's hit or missed a goal, but why they've hit it, and provide better coaching. All right. We've set up all of our forecasting. We know where we're trying to kind of end up. Let's talk about actually measuring that and seeing how our reps are progressing against the forecasting we've set up. So in HubSpot, what we want to do here is head over to the little reports button and click on sales. This is where you're going to find a collection of pre-built reports that as a sales leader, I promise you want to be spending time looking at. The first one I'm going to actually show you here is over here, and it is called the weighted forecast category report. Basically, this report is going to show you forecasted revenue by all of those deals that you've got for each of your reps or teams. We can see here a breakdown of what the rep is doing by deal owner. We can see things like the total revenue goal and whether this rep needs a little bit of coaching. If you want to scroll down, you can actually see things like the best case, pipeline, and commit for each rep. Remember those forecast categories we set up earlier? You can see all of those here and how your reps are performing in them. The next report I want to show you is the weighted pipeline forecast report. This is going to show you forecast performance over time. So on a month-by-month basis, how your reps are doing compared to the forecast that you've set. This is actually calculated right here. If you're looking at this number and kind of thinking, how did we get there? It's using the deal probability percentage that you've set up in deal pipeline settings. That just means at those different stages for the deal, how likely is the deal to progress forward and close? Remember, you can customize those in HubSpot if you'd like. All right, one of the things you can do here that I like to do is actually click into these different stages and drill down on, a month-by-month basis and see how things are performing in my pipeline. You can do that just by clicking here and viewing some of that data. All right. We have spent a lot of time talking about forecasting, and for a good reason. It's a key part of every sales leader's job. But one of the things that I know every sales rep cares about is hitting their quota and ultimately getting that commission check at the end of each month. Let me show you how to actually measure if reps are hitting that quota. So we actually have a report here, pretty handy. It is called the Quota Attainment Report. And what it's going to do here, if you click into it, is show you total revenue closed by each rep against the goals you've set for them. But here's the really cool part. You can actually see trending performance over time. So if you have maybe a newer rep that needs a little bit of coaching, you can see whether or not they're improving towards that quota right here in this report. The key with all of these reports is that they're not just backward looking. They'll give you actionable insights into areas where you can coach your teams and ultimately improve their performance and actually hit that forecasting goal. Look, accurate forecasting, goal tracking, and reporting isn't just about hitting your sales numbers. It's about creating a predictable revenue engine that you, your teams, and your company can depend on. When you accurately predict what's coming and track performance in real time, you go from playing defense to offense. To try any of the forecasting and planning tools in Sales Hub, click the link in the description below. I'm Alex. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.